Welcome to Tech Talk with rptech. I am Ganesh from Rashi Peripherals. We are a national distributor for IT hardware and software products and AI first distributor in India. We have 35 plus years of experience in the industry and partner with the 70 plus OEMs, which includes NVIDIA, Supermicro, Asus, Lenovo, OpenText, NinjaOne, Quantum, and many more. Today we have excited to have Mr. Vivek Hegde, co-founder and CEO of Ahana Systems and Solutions Private Limited, who transformed the IT infrastructure and database services to data, automation, AI-led services, and running it successfully over the decade. Pleasure having you here, sir.
Thank you so much, Ganesh. Thanks for having me here. So it's always been a pleasure to work with rptech and getting into this journey, talking to you candidly. I'm quite happy.
So, would like to know the journey of Ahana Systems, how it started, the challenges that you had during the decade over the journey.
Sure. I mean, the idea started way back when me and my other business partner, he's the MD, Uma Shankar Maligeri, we used to work together. So, and then we used to go from office to metro station in the evening after work while walking. So we used to just chat ideas and all that. So, and then we thought, let's see how to get into some business. Let's see how entrepreneurship works, right? So that's where I think the idea started up. And then somewhere around 2008, we started this. In fact, we started as an education services that's training people in SAP Sybase. We used to work quite a lot with the SAP, and that was our initial journey, right? But that is how we initially started. But then over a period of time, things have transformed. We have moved from training. We don't even talk training nowadays. It's all about services now, but it has been a journey.
Great. So over the decade, so you must be having a lot of challenges as well, along with the growth journey. So would like to hear the toughest project that you have done so during your journey, which you can share to our audience.
Yeah, in our case, Ganesh, as I said, initially we started as training, least of the risks or least of the pressure, right? And then both myself and Uma, I mean, we are from service industry. So that is where we wanted to move towards, IT services. We started first looking at, how can we help the SME customers who did not have access to a lot of technology and all that those days, right? That's how the journey started. But I wouldn't want to pinpoint one specific project, but as I said, what we started as IT infrastructure and database services initially back in 2013-14, we had to completely transform along with the the market that is transforming as well. So from IT infra database to cloud to RPA to automation to data warehouse and all that has happened along the way, right? So in all that, I mean, it has been a learning through and through. So it would be very difficult to pick one specific project, but we definitely had some sort of a challenges in most of the projects. It will anyway happen. So it could be because the right skill set may not be there, or it could be that project would have started with certain intention, but then changes with the customer requirement along the way. All these things can derail, right? So we have to take certain specific, decisions at that point of time, whatever is the right. So you have to just make sure that there's a proper governance and risk management so that along the way you will know where the project is getting tough, so that you can start to take some decision to make sure things run okay. This is how we usually manage.
Great. Got it, actually. So you mean instead of having loads of data, quality data defines the right outcomes.
Yeah, loads of data is as good as just being quality data, right? Just having loads of data is not going to give you anything. You have data. Can you take a meaningful decision out of that data? For that, I mean, how do you correlate this data and how do you actually bring the data into a model which will then help certain, business, KPIs that you want to measure, right?
Digital transformation is happening and AI also is buzzword not just in India, across the places. So many people are doing the POCs but failing at taking to the large scale production. Why is it so happening?
See, POC is always a lab thing, right? So you are in your, R&D lab, or you are in your test bed. You have a vision that you want to get something out of AI, or even with, any of the digital transformation project that you want to do. But the ideal situation may be different. So while you have in your lab all the data, and then you start to build some POCs. Obviously, it could look like a success in the lab, but when you go on to the real world to implement this POC, in reality, the data may not even be there in a way that you want to really visualize it. So at the end of the day, that's where a lot of POCs fail. But there are other aspects to the failure as well. I mean, if you look at digital transformation on a whole, it's not just about data or AI alone, right? It's just the culture that is changing. There is a human aspect to it as well. So that is where I think when you are trying to do any POCs, please ensure that there is a clear cut requirement as to what you are trying to get out of that POC, and also try to see whether you have the right set of ingredients to put it back into the reality as well.
So since we are talking about the AI, so now you explained about the why people are failing to take it to the real-time manufacturing or scaling up to the next level. So now we will talk about the which project changed how you see the AI impact in the real world. There are few projects like move to the production stage also from the POC. So would like to talk about now that part.
Up to 2025, very few projects might have really moved from POC to reality, right? But however, I think slowly things are falling in place. People have realized. I have spoken to multiple, CIOs, multiple, different leaders. I think at least the cultural shift is happening. So where they all want to make sure that AI is implemented in a proper way, right? So for me, I mean, if I were to talk about one of the project that we had done, where we were trying to help one tire manufacturing company how to actually improve their claims processing. So thousands and lakhs of these pictures come up of defect tires, and they had to look at it and then take a call as to whether it's a real defect or whether it is a wear and tear, and then they had to take a call on whether that warranty has to be honored or not, right? So you can imagine the number of claims that come in. Humans sitting there and trying to take a decision, right? It was taking ages. And what happened was the end customers were also unhappy. It takes a lot of time, right? So that is where when we put this portal to enhance this, customer experience. The KPI was customer experience. How can we bring down from 1 week the decision to few hours, right? That was a KPI. Now you start building based on that. That's where I think we did build a ML platform, and it really did help the the manufacturing company as well. Customers happy. Now probably they don't need so many people. Already you are getting a lot of good output from the ML platform. Claims just get settled within no time. Maybe only 2 to 3% really goes back and gets referred to humans. So looking at that, right? So every company probably has some similar issue, and every company has loads of data on which they can start to build some decision making systems, right? So that's where I thought, this is anyway going to catch up. This project, we did it back in 2020, 2021 time, right? So it's been already 6 years, and now it's becoming reality in every single company.
So if you can elaborate on the same tire industry or specific customer, how did you help them, and like what exactly issue they had it? Previously you talk about how AI or ML things are impacting, but if you can share your personal experience with this particular use case, that will help our audience to know more about your capabilities that you can build.
Yeah. Use cases can be many. I mean, while I was talking, or while I was answering your previous question, I touched base on one of the tire manufacturing company, right? There, the KPI was very clear. They wanted to enhance the customer experience so that when the claim comes in from a customer, they don't make them wait for, few days or weeks. Rather, it's all done within hours, right? But if I want to take one more example, that's where the customer experience was, one of the KPI, right? We worked with one of the two-wheeler automobile OEM, right? So for them, the issue was each of this bike, they have a warranty, service, which they have to go within so many kilometers or within so many days, etc. So you have a new bike, you have to take it to the service center to get it, serviced, right? Sometimes people miss it out. And when I say sometimes people miss it out, it's a huge number that this bikes that come in for a warranty service. And many people don't come. And when they don't come, service centers were still trying to bill it, saying that these guys have done a warranty claim and all that, right? So for the OEM, it was about how do I stop this fraudulent, activity or fraudulent kind of a claim from the service centers, right? So what we had to do was to do some bit of video analytics here.
Okay.
It's where, when the bike is coming into the barrier itself, the cameras will capture the VIN number and the number plate and all that. And already it's, taken back to the system. So when the bike really comes in, there is nothing that person can do because already your bike is registered and it's in the system. You cannot enter it manually. You can see that how now suddenly we were dependent on someone entering some data to now being automated and coming through from the video analytics platform itself and getting keyed in.
Great.
See, that's how things change.
Have you ever said no to your client? So because of lack of resources, or else you are not into that business, or any reason that led you to say no?
Yes, I think multiple times.
Okay.
I would rather say no and keep a good relationship with the customer, and rather than saying yes to everything and then putting our credibility onto stake, right? So the no's could be for multiple reasons. I mean, one of the things that I can remember is someone wanted to do a lot of automation, for example. We could have actually done all the automation. We could have built them and come out. But it's not very ethical for me to do that. For example, you're trying to automate something, but at the end of the day, there should be a cost benefit analysis that has to be done. By automating this, are they really getting benefited? Or are they actually better off not automating it, right? So there, I would be upfront and say, this is not really worth doing an automation. So even though it's a project, I could have got it, I want to say no. Sometimes there is unbelievable price pressures. The customer wants to do something, but they start to get the price down to a certain level where again, I may take that project, which I know that it will end up as a failure because I may not be able to do that project with my margins and ultimately he may not be a happy customer. And I may also be making my losses on the project as well, right? So it is always better and be honest to say no if there are, things that you see that it may not be good for the customer or even good for you sometimes.
So what makes a great engineer different from ordinary engineer or average one, I would say?
Right. So what I would say for this, Ganesh, is gone are those days where you are a great techie and you are a best engineer or you are the best engineer, right? Because things have moved on. Now technology is available for pretty much everyone. Information is at the fingertips. And with AI and all this coming up, a lot of coding can be done through AI as well, right? So it's more than just being a technical engineer. It's more about, am I solving a business problem? So it's, I would say every engineer should move towards, okay, if I'm working in a bank as an IT guy, it's not just good enough I knowing only the technology part of it. I should be knowing how the bank systems work. What are the bank jargons? What is that banking as a business does? So these are the things I think engineers should start to get into, where they start to get the domain knowledge much more. Rather than if I go a few years back, domain knowledge was, not the criteria. Are you a good coder? You are great. Come in, because coding itself was a great, skill. But nowadays, your attitude, when I say attitude, I'm talking about attitude towards innovation. Can I do something? Can I really solve some problem? Can I really understand the domain that I'm working in? I mean, I may see C or Python or any of this is the same. But if I'm an engineer working for, let's say, bank, I need to know how a bank works to make my systems really good enough. If I'm working for, let's say, a manufacturing company, I need to know what a manufacturing company process is, or how then I can break some of the challenges that are there. That's how you can differentiate yourself from the wider lot, right? So that's where I would say, I think we all should move towards knowing the business perspective along with knowing technology. Just technology
that led you to have a better outcomes. Actually.
Yeah, better outcomes, and you can have a better discussion with the end customer, right? My end customer is who? A banker, a trader. Now, if I go there and talk Python or anything, they are not really interested, right? So what is that I'm going to solve for them? And why am I doing something? The why part has to be very important.
So with this, we'll move to the next question of what is harder? Is it building a tech or building a teams?
Tech is the easier thing right now. Okay. See, only if you have the right teams, tech can be built. So, and tech is very predictable, right? When I say tech is predictable, you do something, you know what is the outcome that's going to happen as well. But teams, it is a human aspect, right? So things sometimes can be challenging. So how do you get the right teams? And more so, after you get these team members, how do you get them to collaborate? How do you actually make sure that they communicate, they work together? And once that team is there, I think your tech will happen. Is my perspective, right? I would put building teams are the harder aspect. Tech comes next.
In IT industry, probably in 5 years. So a lot of things we have seen, Obsolete or EOL. So
yeah.
Anything that you can share?
See, many things may become obsolete wherever it is very manual driven. And AI, whether you like it or not, is going to be there, is going to happen. So it's not about whether AI is going to happen or not is a question anymore. How can I co-live with AI, right? What is that I can actually move towards AI, which AI does best? And what is that I can do better than AI, which is maybe my thinking, my, whatever that, the other sort of things that are there compared to just the technology bit, right? So, in that sense, I would say in 5 years, if the tools don't upgrade themselves to make it somewhere AI driven, tools that somewhere generate meaningful data, tools that put the right ethical guardrails, all these things will vanish in terms of the tools. But people, if they don't start to move towards co-living with AI, those people will also get obsolete. Now, if I am living with the luxury and comfort saying that, hey, I'm a great Python coder, I don't care. 5 years later, that may not be the scene, right? So that's where I would say, in fact, we also talked about what makes a good engineer, right? So we all now should start to think, how do I solve a problem, and then use tech as an enabler for it. And awesome. Within that tech, a lot of things can be driven through AI. Certain things can be driven by me. So that's how I would see.
In your leadership experience of 10 years or over 10 years, you worked with the multiple industries, which is the tire industry, automotive, BFSI, and large enterprise customers as well. So how does it differ BFSI from the other regular industries?
See, actually, if you take manufacturing and all that, right? So it's a lot of blue collar job, and also if you look at manufacturing companies, you take at the highest level, the CXOs and all that, right? They've hardly moved. There are people in the same manufacturing setup for 30 years, 35 years, and they've got to certain, CXO levels or CEO level, whatever. Their mindset is still with the old way of doing things. They are talking about all that. The changes that are happening are not so greatly adopted in a manufacturing setup compared to a BFSI. BFSI is, fast changing world. You have a lot of consumers day in, day out. The data volumes are high. I've seen the adoption of, the technology and the automation and all that is much more higher in BFSI. And I think they have been the sector which is also, putting a lot of investment into moving towards tech and all that. which we are seeing, right? UPI is a great example. I mean, we don't even go to the banks anymore. I mean, if you look at how they have transformed.
The best example that you brought, which everyone can easily correlate.
Absolutely.
UPI.
Probably, some of the next generations may not even know how a bank was looking like, or how was a cash, cash teller, or anything, right? They just taken UPI as a default. So I think it will transform. I mean,
not in 10 years, I'm like at present Gen Z or I'm like few of the youngster like who is in a school stage may not knowing how bank is functioning.
Absolutely. True. And the same thing with tech as well, right? I'll tell you, me coming from a tech background, right? I have literally gone into data center, lifted even the data center floor, put the network cables around. I have seen literally how a physical thing or physical aspect looks like, right? Even in our, in our company, many people are born with cloud. So they know how a AWS console looks like or Azure console looks like, whichever console, right? They just know they will click something is happening. But in reality, see, they might not have even seen a data center in real life, right? So that's how things are transforming. So
it's become more of drag and drop actually. So that's how they
yeah, which can be scary as well if people don't get to understand the foundations. You drag and drop it and you never know what you dragged and dropped where. So
maybe instant gratification they'll get achieved something, accomplished something, not for the longer time as you mentioned.
Yeah.
As in it's evolved actually, they cannot equip as they see them like only a higher level of the technology, not what is behind the any application.
That's true. Yeah.
So if you had to bet on one, either the data, AI or cloud, which one you pick up?
I would not specifically pick any one thing up there, because if you look at it, AI is inevitable. It is going to happen. But is AI going to be independent of anything? No, it has to depend on data, right? So you have to get your data right, and there is no ifs and buts about it. Your AI is as good as your data. So your data is bad, your AI is going to do all sort of wrong things, right? So AI, data interrelated, so they will both carry on. I mean, if you look at our own vision statement, which we changed a couple of years back, we only use words like data and AI, and emerging technologies, right? Cloud is a base. When I say the base, see, what cloud has given to us is the agility at which we can do, the scale at which we can do things. I remember the days, right, back in the 90s and even the early part of 2000. So some guy will come up with an idea and we want to build that application. By the time we buy servers, we put it into the data center, we do all that, it takes 3 to 4 months, 5 months, and then that application idea itself is dropped and the idea itself has changed, right? But today I have an idea. Tomorrow I have an entire setup done and I can start testing, right? And obviously, cloud is an enabler. I mean, for most of the businesses in terms of how you want to scale, how you want to be agile and all that. I would say all this will go hand in hand. So you can bet on all three.
Okay.
And apart from that, one of the major thing is the cybersec or the security. So where data and AI, you know that is as good till the time where it is secure. In the wrong hands, you have a problem. So with the competitor, you have your data, you know what the challenges are.
True.
So how do you guardrail your data? That's where all your security aspects come. I would say cloud, AI, security, data, all these are thriving things.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us and to our audience. Look forward to continue to work together, grow together. Think AI, think Rashi.
Thank you so much, Ganesh. It was a pleasure and always love to work with you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.